This is kind of what the garden's looking like at this point in time, right before March. Or is this 1st of March? Anyway, I made a little raised planter right here over the cherry tree stump, and I'm winter sowing some chamomile, little plastic containers to help protect them from any frost. This is the main gate. I built this last fall. There's a piece right here, a 2x8 that comes down in the ground 8 inches, and then these posts, this chicken wire that runs down about 1 foot, and then this, I think, 11 gauge wire that I used strapped on to keep the chicken wire up, and then just T-post in between the main wood posts in the ground. And it works fairly well so far. We'll see how good it works, but so far I haven't had any intrusions by. We get a lot of groundhogs around here, and some squirrels, but can't keep the squirrels out. You can see here how the trench was dug. Can't see there, it's like pushed up against the side as I filled it back in after the trench was dug to push this in. Probably when I till the garden, I'm just going to push the dirt back up against that. So you can see the top, probably 6 inches of the trench right there. Here's for kind of a better view of that fenced in area. So I mean, that 11 gauge wire, I mean, it might not look very straight. It kind of weaves up and down as it holds up, but you know, it works. So, because that chicken wire from the side, it's not very straight either. It kind of makes like a wave pattern. You can see here, go down so you can see it. So it might not be the prettiest thing, but it doesn't look horrendous, and it's almost invisible, really. So on this side, we're gonna do mostly squash, pumpkins, some cheese pumpkin I want to do here, some popcorn, some potatoes. I have a plan kind of drawn up, but we'll see if it actually kind of goes to the plan. So here's the kale that survived through the winter time, and it's popping back up. And it's a biennial, which means it lives only 2 years. Since this is the 2nd year, it's gonna seed this year at the end of like the spring. I'll get a bunch of seeds out of it after I eat it. It's doing pretty good. And I'm also doing a bunch of winter sowing. I did that throughout the winter, like the last month. Basically, they're like mini greenhouses for stuff that's really cold hardy, like calendula, chives, mustards. And then they'll pop up basically as soon as they're able to, and they're pretty frost resistant, and I can just transplant them or give them away to people, whoever would want them. The cover I made for the kale was not enough to protect it. It died over the winter time. So I should have made something that kind of raised up more. But this one for the tatsoi actually protected it pretty good, and the tatsoi's popping back up for early spring. Other consideration, we have a black walnut here. The neighbor has a black walnut, and there's a small black walnut right there. And black walnut, within the radius of its roots, which is about, for a tree this size, 60, 80 feet, 100 feet, it releases a toxin in the soil that will stunt growth on a lot of plants, tomatoes and peppers. And there's some other black walnut here too. So it's within that very tip of the range. And I did notice it last year. You can kind of see my tomatoes here that are all dead now. Like marigolds, these are the African marigolds. They got huge, they got like 4.5 feet tall. And some of my tomatoes, they did okay, but not really as tall as I think they could have done. So this year maybe I'm gonna try something different with the soil.